and I'm sharing my screen. Okay. So let me know once you're able to see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Great. So today I'm going to discuss about the concept called backup. Okay. So let's say, for example, if you wanted to, let's say once you have a VM, that is virtual machine, it may be both Windows or Linux. And let's say you have hosted an application by enabling the web server. Okay. And this website is already up and running, and whatever the data, if somebody users are, putting some data, and okay, that data will be, present in the VM, and everything is going fine. And all of a sudden there might be chances, okay, something might go wrong, right? Or there might be chances, okay, somebody went and delete that VM, unfortunate. Okay, so what will happen? Let's say if my VM is deleted, or maybe if my virtual machine is like, crashed, or something happened. Okay, so I need to recover it, right? So for that, okay, so we're gonna use backup. First we'll take a backup. Okay, so once the backup is taken, and every day-to-day basis, if something goes wrong also, we can just simply restore it. Okay, that is the advantage of having a backup. So due to any reasons, like if somebody deleted the virtual machine, or maybe VM got crashed, okay, due to some XYZ reasons, okay, using this particular backup items, okay, we can simply restore your virtual machine. Okay, so we'll see today, okay, to take a backup, okay, what are the options that we have, and what are the procedures. I will be listing of the procedures, and I want each and every of you, to make a note of it. Okay, maybe I will be sharing this and prepare your own notes. And if somebody asks you how to take a backup, you should be in a position to explain, okay, step by step. So that I really want it very badly from your side. Good. So I'll start with the documentation here. Okay, I'll just simply go, and I want you to learn, okay, how to look for the documentations also. Okay, you can just simply say Azure backup docs. Okay, just click on enter, and you will be navigated to the at the end, try to keep a word called docs, so that you will be straight away navigated to the documentation page. So I will click on this particular Azure backup docs. Here you could see Azure backup service documentation. So here, okay, so here you could see how to take a backup using portal, using PowerShell, using CLI, and something ARN templates. So before this, okay, I'll go to the overview page and I'll see what is the backup. Okay, so Azure backup is a service that is provides you simple, secure, and cost-effective solutions to take a backup of your data and recover it from the Microsoft Azure cloud. Okay, so maybe data includes, okay, your application data that also we can backup, and maybe you can just backup your entire VM configuration also. And what are the things I can take a backup, okay, into this particular Azure backup service. Okay, if there are any files and folders, okay, on your on-premises server, let's say on your own company's data center. On-premises is nothing but a company's data centers. Okay, let's say if you are working for a company called Wipro, and within your company, if you have a data center, and the servers and everything will be hosted within your data center, right? That is on-premises. So within your on-premises, if you wanted to take a backup of any files and folders, we can achieve it using this particular backup service. And how to do it, okay, I'm going to explain you in detail today. In addition to that, we can also take a backup of Azure virtual machines. We have seen, right, creating both Windows and Linux virtual machines. We can take a backup of those also, and we can take a backup of only disks. Okay, and this file sets we haven't discussed. This is one of the storage topic. We can also take a backup of your file sets also, and we can take a backup of Azure SQL Server. SQL is a database. Okay, we can take a backup of SQL servers which are hosted on Azure VM, and SAP HANA. So this is like a SAP technology. Okay, so SAP HANA databases also we can take which are hosted on Azure VM. And some of the things, okay, which is in a preview mode. Preview is nothing but, okay, whenever you see something called preview, okay, they're in a development mode. So Microsoft will not provide any support for this particular preview features. Okay, so you can take a backup of some of these, PostgreSQL servers. PostgreSQL is also one of the database, and we can take a backup of your Azure Blob service. This is something like storage related. File saves and blobs are related to the storage. We can take a backup of those storage accounts also. Okay, so these are the services, okay, that we can take a backup using this particular Azure backup service. Okay, here you could see some of the architectural diagram. Okay, so it is kind of central management wherein you can take a backup of your on-premises servers and files also, and at the same time you can just take a backup of your cloud services like a databases, virtual machines, as well as the storage accounts. Okay, and why do we use the backup? Okay, you can see some of the advantages here. Okay, so offload on-premises backup. Okay, that means, okay, so we can take a backup of your on-premises. If something goes wrong, okay, we can just keep it. Let's say, for example, if you take a backup of your entire on-premises data centers, servers, or maybe data, if something data center collapses also, your data will be secured in a cloud. Okay, so yeah, so backup of your Azure virtual machine, that is Azure IaaS. VM is a IaaS solution, that is infrastructure as a service, and we can easily scale it. Okay, if something goes wrong, we can easily restore it, okay, by using backup items. Multiple servers we can create and get unlimited data transfer. There is no limit, okay, while taking a backup. So we can take a backup of infinite number of data, and data secured. Okay, once it is backed up, okay, it will be secured, and we can also have a centralized monitoring and management. Okay, once the data is backup, we can also monitor the your backup jobs also. And app consistent backup, that means we can take the complete application as well as the your server backup. Apart from the app consistency, we have like cross consistency and some other things. Okay, we'll discuss those in upcoming sessions. So here you could see some of the advantages here. And if you want to walk me through the some of the architecture diagram, how the backup works, especially for the Azure virtual machines, I'll quickly walk you through this particular architecture overview. Okay, I'm just opening this particular architecture overview in the new tab. And if I come down, uh, yeah, so before that, okay, let me talk about the backup types here. Okay, so which are important. Yeah, so here we have a three types of backups. One is like a full backup, differential backup, and the incremental backup. I'm repeating again. So we have a full backup, differential backup, and incremental backup. So let me put it here. I'll say backup types. So we have a, let me put it here, full backup, differential backup, incremental backup. Okay, so these are the three type of backups. Let's see what are the details of it and what is the use case. So full backup is nothing but whenever you take a backup for the first time. Okay, let's say I have a virtual machine and I'm taking the backup of my virtual machine for the first time, and that will be considered as a full backup. Okay, that will take the complete backup of your entire virtual machine, including the hardware, and if you have hosted any application and data, and that entire backup also will be taken. Okay, here you could see the details. A full backup is a backup the entire database. Okay, that type of backup can be independently used to restore a specific point. Okay, here you could see some of the use cases also. At most, you can schedule one full backup per day. And coming back to the differential backup, after the full backup, let's say yesterday I have set up the uh, full backup. And after full backup, whatever the backup has taken, let's say I have a VM and I have an application. Okay, yesterday I have taken a backup. And today there is some additional data which has written in the virtual machine, and that data has taken a backup. That data we call it as a differential backup. So after the full backup, whatever the changes, okay, that we had, and that data, if you take it as a backup, that we call it as a differential backup. Here you could see a differential backup is based on the most recent previous full backup. Okay, and that is something like here you could see at most you can schedule one differential backup per day. This is also for the usage. And coming back to the incremental backup is based on the most recent, same as like a differential backup, previous full differential incremental data backup. That means this will be include like let's say for example you have taken a full backup on, let's say for example, on first. Okay, I have a virtual machine, and every day, let's say I'm taking a backup every day. Okay, so when I schedule a backup on a first to my virtual machine, that will be considered as a full backup. And later, after full backup, whatever the backup has taken, that will be considered as a differential backup. And coming back to the incremental backup, it will be the complete latest backup. Let's say yesterday I have taken some another backup that will be considered as a differential incremental backup. That means that it consists of a latest data. If I'm taking a backup every day, okay, so whatever the latest backup that I have, very recent backup, that is we call it as a incremental backup. Okay, so if you want me to show you the differential types here you could see the full backup. Okay, so first backup, second backup, third backup, it is a completely like a full backup. And coming to the differential backup, after the full backup, whatever the changes we have, okay, that will be differential backup. And coming to the incremental, okay, the very recent changes, okay, so that will be considered as a incremental backup. So these are the three types of backups, okay, we have. Okay, try to remember them as well. Great. So now let me come back to this point, okay, how the backup will work for the Azure virtual machines. Okay, so I think here as somewhere I will be having a architecture diagram here. If I come down, yeah, here we go. So if I keep coming down, architecture built in Azure backup. Okay, how the backup will work. Let's see this here. I'll try to copy this image and I'll put it here in the browser. Here we go. If at all, if you wanted to take a backup, okay, first we need to do is, okay, we need to create a recovery service vault. Okay, let me list out the process here so that you will be familiar with the complete end-to-end flow. So, and I want you to remember these steps. Okay, so if somebody asks you how to take a backup, you should be in a position to explain these steps, whatever I'm specifying here. Okay, so I'll put it as a steps. Okay, the first and foremost thing what we need to do is we need to create a recovery service vault. So within this recovery service vault, okay, so we'll be having a service called backup, and within that service, okay, so we'll be going and taking a backup. So if you see here, so this is the vault which we're creating first. Then within a vault, you will be having a service called backup service, Azure backup service. So when you click on this particular Azure backup service, okay, we have a different type of backup services, how you wanted to take a backup. So just now we have seen, right? You can take a backup of your on-premises files and folders and the Azure virtual machines, or maybe some of the databases and all those stuff. So I can choose the Azure virtual machine, and when I add my virtual machine into my backup service, there is a specific agent will be installed on a VM called backup extension. Okay, so this agent will take the backup of your entire virtual machine and the data and transfer into the form of snapshot. Whatever the backup items it has taken, right, it will be stored in the form of snapshot, and these snapshot will be stored again into the recovery service vault itself. I'm repeating again. Once we'll be creating a recovery service vault, so within a recovery service vault, we have a service called a backup service, and when you add a virtual machine into your backup service, there will be a specific agent will be installed, okay, within a VM. That agent we call it as a backup extension, and this agent will capture the data and it will store in the form of snapshot. This is the backup item, and those snapshot will be stored in the recovery service vault itself. Sometimes in interviews, okay, they might ask you a question. When you take a backup, the backup items will be stored in a which format? Okay, they will be stored in a snapshot format. And where these snapshots are stored, they will be stored in a recovery service vault itself. Okay, so we can take a backup of your OSDs, temporary disks, data disk, and everything. We can take a backup. That is completely like a full backup. Okay, so let me quickly go ahead and list out the steps. After doing it, okay, I'll come back here and list out the steps so that you will be familiar with it. Okay, so I'll go back to the portal. As a first step, okay, what I have to do to take a backup of my virtual machine, I need to create a recovery service vault. So before I go ahead and create a recovery service vault, make sure the VMs and the recovery service vault should be in the same region. Okay, and at this moment, if you see, I have two virtual machines, and one virtual machine is in a East US, and other virtual machine is in a Southeast Asia. Okay, I'll go ahead and create a one recovery service vault in the East US region, because my recovery service vault and the number of virtual machine should be in the same region. So in the enterprises, okay, you will be creating all the resources in a single region, not like multiple regions. Okay, since it is a retail account, okay, I will be choosing the different regions, but based on your project, based on your customer, we'll be choosing a one single region, okay, for all the resources. Okay, so to create a recovery service vault, okay, you can go with the multiple ways. Otherwise, okay, you just here type it as a recovery service vault. Here it is. Okay, so here you could see a disaster recovery. Okay, by using recovery service vault, okay, we can set up a DR, and data protection strategy keeps a business running, unexpected events occurs. Okay, so let's say I'll create a recovery service vault here. and here we go. And I can choose the resource group whatever I wanted. Let's say I'll go with the same resource group, and which is in a, where my VM is present. And if you want, you can create a new resource group also, but make sure that it should be in the same region. And here I can just name it as, let's say I'll say test rsv01. I'll just keep it a test rsv. Okay, and I need to provide certain tags. If not, let's go with the default. And my validation is done. I'll say click on create. So now considering this, I'm done with the creating the recovery service vault. Now let's go ahead and add my virtual machines into this backup service, and let's see how we can set up the backup. I'll go here, and the deployment is in progress. Once the deployment is done, I'll go to the recovery service vault and we'll explore the remaining options. Yeah, which is done. I can say go to the resource, then it will straight away take me to the recovery service vault page. Here you could see I'm into the recovery service vault page, and this is the name of the recovery service vault which I just created. If you wanted to go through the document, okay, here you could see the overview page. What are the new updates, okay, which are present for the recovery service vault? Okay, cross region restore and backup central public and blah blah blah. Okay, and here you could see some of the links, okay, for setting up the backup and all those things. So site recovery is for the for the DR purpose we use for the migration and DR. So this will discuss later. But for now, let's go with the backup. And here I could see under getting started, I see a service called backup, and I can do it from here also, or maybe I can just navigate from here also. Anything is works. Let's say I'll go from here. Okay, under getting started, I'll go to the backup. So when you wanted to take a backup, it will ask you where are your workloads running. Okay, so are your workloads on Azure, or maybe Azure Stack SCL, or on premises? Azure Stack is nothing but you will be having a Microsoft service, Azure services within your on-premises data center. It is kind of a private cloud. Okay, and here if you see, you can choose whatever you wanted. Let's say I'll go with an Azure. My workloads are running on Azure. Workloads are nothing but the resources what you wanted to take a backup. And here you could see within Azure, we can take a backup of these services. I can take a backup of virtual machine. I can take a backup of Azure file share. This is something like a storage topic, which we'll discuss later. But I can take a backup of SQL Server, which is hosted on Azure virtual machine. So I can choose my virtual machine. And once I choose my source, where are my workloads, then I can go ahead and create a configure the backup. Let's click on the configure the backup. So when I click on configure the backup, here it will ask you for the backup policy. Backup policy is nothing but how frequently you wanted to take a backup. Okay, we need to define it here. Okay, if you see, since I'm doing it for the first time, okay, it is showing as a full backup. So here I have a default policy. So according to the default policy, okay, so here they are triggering the backup every day at this particular time, okay, in this time zone. And they have kept the retain in instance recovery snapshot for the 2 days, okay, and remaining, okay, retention period, okay, they're keeping for the 30 days. Retention is nothing but when whatever the backup items which has taken, right, it will be present here for the 30 days. We can change it also. We'll see how to change it. But for now, I wanted to create a new policy. I'll say create a new policy here. And here I can say the name, let's say test policy, or else I would say VM backup policy. Okay. And how frequently you wanted to take a backup, whether you wanted to take a backup daily or a weekly. This will be provided by the customer, how frequently they want to take a backup. Let's say I will keep it as a daily backup. And if it is a daily backup, at what time you wanted to trigger the backup. So in generally, the backups will be triggered in the late night. Okay, let's say I'll go with the 12 a.m. and you can choose the time zone. Okay, so let's say I'll keep India here. Excuse me. So whenever you take a backup, okay, so there will be a snapshot will be created, right? So within that snapshot, okay, so we have an instant restore option. That means whatever the latest backup that has taken, it will be there for 2 days, okay, for the instant restore option. That means if something goes wrong, by using the latest backup snapshot, whatever it is there, okay, available for the 2 days, okay, I can use it for restoring my servers. In addition to that, here okay, I can go with the default as a minimum as a 1 or maximum as a 5 days. And in addition to that, I can also keep the retention range. This retention range would be like, whatever the backup item I'll take, here it is just to, it will be keep the snapshot ready for restoring purpose. And after that, okay, so whatever the backup item has taken, right, the snapshot, okay, we can specify the retention period, how many days I wanted to keep it. Let's say 365 days. I can keep 365 days, and I can keep up to like a maximum of these days, I guess. If I go beyond that, okay, it will not allow. Yeah, it should be between these range. That means okay, 9999 days means it will be coming around so many years, I guess. Okay, so we can keep a retention policy, okay, whatever you wanted till these many days. Let's say here I'll go with the default as a 365 days, or else I can go with the, let's say, only 7 days. Okay, so it's up to you. Okay, so here, okay, I'm taking the retention policy. Whenever you see a word called retention, okay, that means okay, whatever the backup items that we have taken, it will be stored for these many specified days. Okay, since I'm taking a daily backup, I'm really keeping here. If you take a weekly backup, you can go with it. If you take a monthly backup, you can go with it. Good. And then a backup resource group. Okay, this is an optional. That means okay, so this backup item will be stored in a specific resource group. So this is an optional. I think they have introduced newly. So let's go with the default, and I'll say okay. And if you see here, I have created a new backup policy. So whenever you're creating a new resource, it will be coming as a new here. So this includes, okay, it will take a backup every day at 12 a.m. Okay, at this particular time zone. And the initial retention, for the, restoring the snapshot, okay, it will be 2 days, and that these backup items will be stored by default for the 7 days. I'm done with the defining my policy. And then I need to add my virtual machine. And this is the place, okay, when I add my virtual machine, a backup agent will be installed here. Let me click on add a virtual machine here. And here I should be able to see only one virtual machine because recovery service fault and the virtual machine are in a same region. And here you could see, so I'm able to see only one VM01 virtual machine because this is the only VM which is present in my USTS. I'll choose it. I'll say okay. One second. I'll say click on OK back again. And here we go. Okay, I have added my virtual machine. And when I enable the backup, that time, okay, so here what I'm doing, I'm just adding my virtual machine into this particular Azure backup service. So when I enable the backup now, this particular backup extension will be installed on this VM, and when the backup jobs runs, it will capture the data, entire replica of your virtual machine, and will be stored in the form of snapshot. Let's come back here. And if I wanted to take a only OS disk backup, not the entire VM backup, I can take OS disk only. If I don't choose it, I can take the entire VM backup. That means entire VM backup means if you have hosted any web application, okay, it will give the web application backup. And if you have any additional data Ds, okay, here you could see OSDs or a temporary disk, data Ds. Okay, so if you have n number of disks, okay, we can take a backup of n number of disks also. So we can choose that and we can just enable the backup. So for now, I'm taking a full backup here, and I'll say enable the backup. And now, if you see, when I enable the backup, what it does is, okay, it will install this particular backup extension into this particular Azure virtual machine. And the backups will be triggered according to the policy what I have defined. Okay, so if you see, I have created a policy to take a backup every day at 12 a.m. So it will wait for the 12 a.m. to initiate the first backup. If at all, if you wanted to do it right away, you can go ahead and you can initiate, okay, taking the immediate backup also. We'll see that option also now. So it is still enabling the backup from a virtual machine. If you see, it has created a backup policy, and if you see this operation, okay, so this is the test RSV. Okay, so I ask VM container. Okay, I ask VM container where you could see what exactly it is doing. Okay, it is creating a specific agent on this particular virtual machine. Okay, if you wanted to see, you can see the details here. Okay, so these are some of the details, okay, that you can go through. And it is done. If I go to the go to resource, Again, I will be coming back to this particular recovery service vault itself. Now, what I did by using this particular backup service, I have enabled the backup. I just enabled the backup. I haven't scheduled it. Okay. If at all, if I wanted to see my backup items, I can go to this particular product data option under this particular getting started. If I click on this particular backup items, and here it will give me the count as a 1 because I have taken a backup of my Azure virtual machine. Here you could see the backup item count. Let me click on it. And if you see here, so this is the page, okay, where I have a backup items of Azure virtual machine and the name of the virtual machine and the resource scope and the backup pre-checks. That means, okay, it is perform the pre-checks, installing the agent and all those stuff. And if you see here, the last backup status, initial backup is pending. That means according to my policy, the initial backup will be triggered at 12 a.m. in the midnight. And if at all, if you wanted to do it right away, go here and backup now. Else, just click on this particular option. It will route to the detailed page, and here you can just say backup now. I'll say backup now, and you can choose the retention backup till I have chosen as a 7 days, right? So it is giving me the 7 days or 30 days, I'm not sure. So it is giving me the appropriate date, and I say okay, and it will trigger the backup immediately. Okay, in between, if you wanted to stop the backup, you can say stop the backup. And if you see the notification here, it is triggering the backup for this particular VM called VM01, and it is done with the triggering, and it will start taking the backup. That means, okay, so we have triggered the backup, and within this VM, whatever the extension is installed, it will start triggering the backup, and it will store those backup items as a snapshot. Okay, so let's do refresh here. I'll come back. I'll do refresh. Okay, here you could see which is still loading. Let me do refresh here. So let me go here back again. Okay, so just now I have initiated it. Okay, to show you the status, okay, it will still take some time. And in the meanwhile, if at all, if you wanted to monitor the backup jobs, okay, you can come back to the overview page. Here I have see option called backup. So this is the backup, dashboard, kind of monitoring dashboard. Whereas, okay, you can just monitor your entire progress. And if you see here, okay, the backup jobs, just now I have initiated one job, so which is in progress. And if at all, okay, so here I also see backup items. I have taken a one item as a backup, right? The virtual machine, and here you can see my count. And in between, okay, if this particular backup items failed, I can see the backup rejects, errors or warnings here. Okay, so this is a central monitoring place, okay, where you can just monitor your backup jobs also. And if at all, if you wanted to monitor in detail, you can just come down under the monitoring. You could see an option called backup jobs. Just click on this particular backup jobs option, and here we go. So first it is configured the backup, the status is completed, and now, okay, we are triggering the backup which is still in progress. And if you wanted to see the details, you can just view the details here, and here you could see now it is taking the snapshot. I told you, right? Whatever the backup I will take, okay, it will be stored, it will take in the form of snapshot. Once the snapshot is created, it will transfer the snapshot into the vault, that is a recovery service vault. So this is what you see here, right? Taking the snapshot which is in a progress and transfer the data to the vault is not yet started. So once the snapshot is ready, it will transfer the snapshot into the vault. Okay, in between, if you wanted to cancel this job also, here you could say cancel, but for now I don't want it to cancel. So this is the process, okay, how to schedule a backup for your virtual machine. So let me go ahead and list out the steps here what we discussed. So what we have done first, we have created a recovery service vault. Next, what we have done, okay, so within a recovery service vault, we have a service called backup. Okay, you will be navigated to the backup service, and there you will be choosing the source where your workloads present. right? Then you will be configuring the backup. So when you configure the backup, what you will do as a first step, you will create a policy. Okay, so this policy could be how frequently you want to take a backup and retention policy, right? And then we'll be adding the VMs, that is virtual machine, and then we enable the backup. So these are the steps, right? Somebody asks you, you should be in a position to tell this particular step by step. Okay, how do you take a virtual machine backup? Okay, if at all if you want to take a immediate backup, you can just say backup now. And these backup items will be stored in the form of what format?
Snapshot.
Yeah. Okay, so these backup items will be stored in the form of snapshot, and where they are stored?
Recovery service.
Okay, stored in the RSP itself, that is recovery service one. Okay, for snapshot format, and they're stored in the recovery service one, which is very important, guys. So these are the steps. I'm going to say this. Okay, please make a notes for yourself also and be prepared. Great. So now if I come back here and my jobs is still in progress, that's okay. Let's leave it here. So in the meanwhile, what I wanted to do is I'll go here and I'll try to create a new VM, and we'll see how to take a backup of your on-premises files and folders. Let me try to create one more VM. I'll say create a virtual machine very quickly. So I'll say on-prem VM. I'm going to create a one Azure virtual machine, and I will imagine that VM as my on-premises VM. Okay, and I'll just simply say on-prem VM. Okay, let's go with that. And here I'm going to choose one Windows machine, and I'm going with the default sizes. I say some username, password. Okay, and the rest of the details I'm going with the defaults. Let's say create it. So here I'm creating a one virtual machine, and I will imagine this virtual machine as my on-premises virtual machine. Let's say this virtual machine is present on my company's data center, and within this VM, let's say I have some files and folders. Okay, every day there are some new files are which are coming up, and I need to take a backup of those files into the cloud, that is Azure Recovery Service Vault. How to do it, we'll see today now. So meanwhile, I'll walk you through the document here. I say Azure files and folders backup using mouse agent. I'll go here. And before I go ahead and show you this, I just would like to show you some architecture diagram here. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so this is a kind of architecture diagram, how to take a backup process. So I'll walk you through this. So maybe I will come back and recall this also. So if you see here, so this is your entire on-premises. Okay, that means your company's data center, and this is your cloud. And here the use case is here you are taking the backup of your files and folders. Let's say within your organization you might be having some shared drive, right? Okay, so within the shared drive, okay, you might be having some project related information, and every day you might be putting some extra files and folders which are very important. And if you wanted to take a backup of those files and folders into your cloud recovery service vault, so this is the process. Okay, here if you see, the first and foremost thing we do is we'll be creating a recovery service vault. Here you could see we'll be creating a recovery service vault, which we already have it. And by the way, what is the place we have created this VM? I'm sorry, I forgot. Let's say here. If not, I have to create one more recovery service vault. Oops. Okay, I need to create a one more recovery service vault in Central India region. Let's see. I think taking a backup files and folders, it will work. I'll check it again back. I'm done with the creating my recovery service vault. And the next step is I need to install an agent called Mars agent on top of this particular virtual machine. Because if at all if I wanted to take a backup of some files and folders which is hosted on somewhere in on premises, I need to establish a connection to my recovery service vault, right? And that connection I will be establishing it using installing this particular agent called Mars agent. Okay, so Mars is nothing but Microsoft Azure recovery service agent. Okay, here you could say I will download this agent and I will install this agent, that is a backup agent, we call it as a Mars agent, and then I will register that agent into my recovery service vault. Then I will start taking a backup of my files and folders. So this is the step. So I'll quickly walk you through how to do it. I'll come back here. Let me quickly log into my virtual machine here. I'll copy it. I'll take RDP. Let me put my IP. I say Azure user. I click on yes. So now I'm inside the virtual machine now. Here now, let's say I'll come back to my recovery service vault. Let's say I have created my on-premises VM, and in this VM, let's imagine this as an on-premises VM. And in this VM, I will be having some files and folders. Okay, I'll come back here and I'll create some files and folders here. And I wanted to take a backup those files and folders into my recovery service vault. Let's say I'll go back to the recovery service vault here. So this is my recovery service vault. And here again, I'll go back to my backup service. And this time, where your workloads, okay, I need to choose it as an on-premises. Earlier, when I choose the virtual machine, I'll be choosing Azure, but this time my workloads are in on-premises. And these are all the list of services that you can take a backup, which are from the on-premises. So for now, I am going to show you some demo how to take up files and folders. And then we need to prepare the infrastructure here. I'll say click on prepare infrastructure. So when you say click on prepare infrastructure, it will ask you to download this particular agent, that is a Mars agent. Okay, what I will do is I'll simply copy this link. I'll go to my virtual machine and I'll let me disable my firewall here. Internet Explorer enhance your security configuration into this local server. I will disable it. If not, okay, it will not allow you to use the web browser here. I'll go to my Internet Explorer and I'll paste that particular URL, whatever I copied. Okay, so this is the agent I'm downloading. Click on enter and it will ask you to Mars agent installer. I say save it first and I say view downloads. I'll say go to the downloads. Here you could say I'm done with the downloading my Mars agent. Great. I'm done with downloading my agent, and I also need to download this particular vault credentials. Okay, to establish the connection from my on-premises server to recovery service vault, first I will be installing this agent, then I will be providing this particular vault credentials. Let's say I'll say, is there any way to download? Let's say I'll say download and I'll try to copy into my VM. Okay, so this is my credentials. I'll copy it and I'll try to paste it here. I have the agent and I have the vault credentials. Let's install this agent into my virtual machine now. I'll say double click this one. And here you could see Microsoft Azure Recovery Service Agent, that is Mars agent. And it is going to install in this particular specific path. I'm going with the default and it is checking for the proxy configuration. Since it is a lab, I don't have any proxy. And it is asking you, do you want any Microsoft updates? I don't want any updates on these. And these are some of the prerequisites, okay, which is looking for, and they are like a past. And I'll say click on install. Now I'm installing this particular Mars agent, that is Microsoft Azure Recovery Service Agent. Okay, here you could see the agent is installed, and once the agent is installed, if at all if you wanted to establish a connection to your recovery service vault, we will be passing the vault credentials. So once it is done, it will ask you to, pass the vault credentials. Okay, we'll say that now. And here we go. Microsoft Azure Recovery Service Agent, that is Mars agent installation has been completed successfully. Click proceed to register to the server to the backup vault. Okay, I need to proceed here. I'll say proceed for the registration, and here I need to browse my vault credentials, okay, which I have downloaded. Which is I kept it in my downloads folder, and I'll choose it. And as soon as I pass this particular vault credentials, it will give me the recovery service, details which are present on my Azure. So this is the recovery service vault, and which is the region and the subscription, and these credentials are valid for the 2 days. And I'll say next, and it will ask you to create a one passphrase. Okay, for this, if you wanted, you can generate a new one, and I need to store it somewhere. I'll say browse it. I'll go to this PC, and I'll keep them into the document page, and I'll say finish it. And it will give you some warning saying that, this passphrase, you should not keep it in a local system. That's fine. I'll say yes. And then this particular server is registering with the recovery service vault. Here you could see registering this server with a Microsoft Azure backup service vault. Okay, so once the server is registered, okay, we will be getting a separate UI, okay, wherein you can take a backup. So in the meanwhile, let me create some files and folders here. Okay, I'll create a folder for taking a backup, and I'll just name it as a test. So within this folder, let me go ahead and create some files. I'll say new, and let me create some files. I'll say demo.1. Okay, let me copy it and paste it, and I'll say demo2. Okay, and I'll say demo3. I'm going to copy these files. I'm going to take a backup of these files, and let me paste one more, and I just say demo. At last, okay, let's keep it one more file. I'm sorry. Okay, so here I have a one folder, and within a folder I have certain files. Okay, I just taken a text files. Okay, if you have any PDF or any project related documents or whatsoever, you can take a backup. Okay, so I have taken dummy files. If you wanted to write something, let's say here I say this is for testing the on-prem files and folders backup. I'll save it. I'll close it. Okay, whenever I open my demo file, I will be having this content. Okay, let's close all of this. And if you see here, Microsoft Azure backup is now available for this server. Okay, let's close it. I have warning. That's fine. Let's close it. I'll close it. So as soon as I done with the installing the agent and performing the registration to the vault, I will be given with a certain UI called Microsoft Azure Backup on my local server. Okay, so this is the agent UI, the same agent UI, and from where I need to take a backup. Here you could see this registration part I'm done, and now I need to schedule the backup. I'll say schedule a backup. I'm performing this from my within the server itself. This is my on-premises server, and I'll go to the next, and here select the items to backup. I need to add the backup items. Let's say I have created a desktop, right? I'll go to the users. I'll go to the user as Azure user because I log into the VM using Azure user, and I'll go to my desktop. Under the desktop, I have a folder called test, and this is the folder, okay, which I'm taking a backup now, and I'll say next. And here also you can schedule like how frequently you want to take a backup. If it is a daily backup, okay, here you have a feasibility to take a backup 3 times in a day. Okay, I can specify the time. Okay, so at what time I need to take a backup. Let's say I'll keep somewhere like 12 a.m. In the midnight, and somewhere in the morning 9 a.m. or something. Let's say I'll keep it, where is the 9? I'll go up. Yeah, this is the 9 a.m. And then I can also choose 9 p.m. also, or else I'll say 6 p.m. So these are the three timings, okay, which I have chosen, okay, for taking a backup of my files and folders. In between, if there is any new files are, added, okay, those files will be taken backup and they will be stored in the recovery service vault. And I'll go to the next. And here also, okay, I need to choose the retention policy, how frequently you want to take a backup, okay, and I'll go with the rest of the details the same. I'll go to next. And here you could see, okay, I'm transferring this data into the via internet, online transfer. I'll go to the next. And here you could see the complete information. I have selected certain backup items here, and I have scheduled this particular backup time every day. And weekly, the frequency I have kept it as a 1 week, okay, to store my data. And a retention period, it is default coming as 180 days. Whatever the backup items will be taken, it will be there for the 180 days. And I'll say click on finish. Now here you could see it is creating the backup schedule for the files and folders, which is still in progress. And according to the timings, so I'll say close it. According to the timing, I would schedule the backup at 12, 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. So it will wait for that particular time. If not, if at all, if you want to take a backup right away, you can say backup now. And you can see the files and folders, and you can choose the date. And this is the folder, test folder. I'm taking a backup. I say backup. And it will start triggering the taking the backup, and it will store. Here you could see it is started taking the snapshot of those particular files and folders. Okay, so taking a snapshot of volumes. Okay, so once it is taken, okay, you could see the data transferred. Okay, the same thing. Okay, you can monitor the jobs here also. Okay, it is preparing the storage and everything. And this is how we can take a backup of your on-premises files and folders. Let me list out the steps here also. This is for the backup for the Azure virtual machine. And let me list out the steps for on-prem files and folders. I'll keep it as a backup on-prem files and folders. Okay, good. Can somebody tell me the steps what I have to do here? First thing, I need to create a recovery service vault, same. Next thing, same, I need to go to the backup service, right? Third thing, I need to source where the workloads, yeah, where your workloads, that is on-prem. So here it is Azure. Okay, and then so once I choose it, okay, what I need to do, I need to configure the infrastructure. Sorry. I need to configure the infrastructure. So as part of this infrastructure, what we'll do, we download the what agent?
ASR agent.
Sorry,
Mars agent.
we'll be downloading the Mars agent, and what else we download?
Key.
Vault credentials. Okay, then when you install this particular okay, then okay, we'll install the agent and pass the credentials, then it establish the connection to where?
Azure.
Yeah, Azure recovery service vault. Okay, then what I will do, so I will be given with the UI. Okay, so that is Azure backup UI. There I will be choosing backup of files and folders. Then same again, I'll be choosing the policy, how frequently in a day. Okay, so how many times I can take. I can choose the retention, then I can backup. So This backup items also will be stored in the which format? They also stored in a snapshot format, and where they're stored?
Recovery service.
Yeah, uh, stored in the recovery service folder. Okay, so this is the process. Okay, for taking a backup of your on-premises files and folders. Okay, using a March agent. Okay, I'll go through the document again. So this is what we discussed, right? Okay, the first step, what you do, create a recovery service vault. Okay, in a Azure subscription. And the second step, what we have done, vault credentials file and the backup agent we have downloaded into your virtual machine. And the third step, what we have done, we have installed the agent, and then we have passed the vault credentials to register the connectivity to your recovery service vault. And once the this agent is installed, it will give you the backup UI, and using that UI, we have taken a backup of your files and folders into your recovery service vault, and they are encrypted. Right? Clear here? Now we have seen how to schedule a backup for both Azure virtual machine and for on-premises files and folders. And we'll see now. Okay, when I go to the backup items now, I can also see Azure backup agent. That is Mars agent we are using, right? So this is giving the count. Let's say I'll go back to my on-premises. Let's see the status here, and the job is completed. That means okay, backup is taken because they are like empty folder and empty files. Now, unfortunately, within this particular folder, somebody went and deleted these files. I'll say shift delete. When I do shift delete, I don't even have that files in my recovery recycle bin also. Okay, when I open it, I don't have a files, and I need to recover them. Since I have the backup items, I can easily recover them by using the same UI here. So here you could say under a backup, you could see recover data. Okay, this is the Microsoft backup UI. Once you install the agent, okay, it will come. From here itself, we have scheduled the backup, and we have taken a backup right now, and I wanted to take a recovery. I'll say recover the data, and it will give you the name of the virtual machine. I'll go choose the virtual machine, and what backup you wanted. Okay, files and folders. Let's go to the next. And here you need to choose the volume, and here you could choose okay latest backups. I'll say here when you recover the data, what will happen is it will mount a separate drive on your this PC here. Okay, so at this moment, let me maximize here. At this moment, okay, on your server, the PC here under the drives, devices and drives, you don't see any other drive, right? So when I try to recover this particular, data, what it does is, okay, it will mount a separate, volume, and it will be present for the specific period what you have specified here. Okay, I'm going with the default and just a mount, and you could see this backup item will be present until this particular date. And if I come back now, I should be able to see a separate drive here mounted, and which consists of my all backup items. Let's see. Okay, mounting the recovery volume. This might take few minutes. And in the backend also you could see recovery volume mounted as a disk, browse volume from Files Explorer to recover items. If I come down here again, if I do refresh back again, here we go. Can you see it is mounted a separate drive? When I open this, it is still opening. Just a minute. Yeah. So under users, this is a user under desktop, and this is the folder okay which I have taken a backup, right? The folder name is test, and here I have the all the files okay which I have taken a backup. what I can simply do is I can simply copy them and I'll go to my place where I wanted to, replace them, and I'll place it. And my demo file has some content, right? This is for testing on-premise files and folders backup, which is good. And I have taken the backup of my files and folders, okay, from this particular, mounting a separate drive. And once I'm done with it, I can say unmount. When I say unmount, that particular drive will be disappeared here. I'll say go here. Can you see? After unmounting, that particular drive will be disappeared. And this is how we will be recovering the files and folder if somebody unfortunately deleted. Okay, so probably if at all if you wanted to monitor the jobs also, you can go to the backup jobs, and here you could see the backup job you are on premises, which is already completed, files and folders, and we have taken a recovery also. So VM backup still is in progress. It might take some more time. Okay, so we'll do it after some time. Okay, so for today, okay, I'll be stopping my session till here. So how to restore the VM if something goes wrong, we'll see tomorrow. Okay, uh, for today I wanted to take a lab. Okay, take a backup of your Azure virtual machine, and to take a backup of your on-premises files and folders also without fail, and let me know in case of any difficulties. And since tomorrow is a Saturday, I would like to take a session tomorrow also. So I just would like to know that your availability, and based on that I will confirm it.